Bo's healthy and Christian McCaffrey's doing great and the defense is dominant, then he could win.
They'll have a lot to do with it, right? But at the end of the day, you're gonna need somebody that's the real deal to win the Super Bowl in today's league. That's just the honest truth.
Fair, fair, fair,
And
fair.
and look at it. He says we're an incredible defense that runs the ball, which yes, and we have not been able to run the ball. We have not been able to run the ball. We miss Trent Williams. We
Struggling.
miss Trent Williams like crazy. But
Do
he
you think
says
he'll
we're.
play?
I don't know.
Seems like that
I
injury,
think he
that
will.
ankle's fucked up.
I think he will. But he
He's
says
had ankle
we're.
injuries like every year for the last multiple years.
But he says we're
Like,
not
I
being
cannot
carried. He
imagine.
said we're not being carried by a 23-year-old. That's crazy to say that because I know a lot of young quarterbacks. Joe Burrow, who carried his team to this. Well, I don't want to say, but he was in the Super Bowl. And,
But we
and
do you expect Brock Purdy to be like Joe Burrow? I don't.
Mahomes in the. Listen, if Brock
Like,
Purdy can
I'd
play,
love for the 49ers to have that guy. I don't think that guy is Brock Purdy. And
I,
maybe
I
Kyle
feel,
Shanahan called him the real deal, but I feel like you give Kyle a few drinks and he's going to admit that he does not think that Purdy is on the Mahomes level. Like,
no,
that's
no,
not
no, no.
a hot
Wait, hold
take.
on. He's not, and I'm not comparing him, but I'm saying Mahomes is a 23-year-old guy. Joe
Yeah.
Burrow is a young guy. I mean, a lot of these quarterbacks that come into the league are young guys who can carry their squads, carry the franchise, right? At the end of the day,
Really, really quickly, can we QBR is more of an offensive stat and a scheme stat than it is a quarterback stat. Brock Purdy is not the second best quarterback in the NFL.
he's
Jimmy
not.
Garoppolo was not the fifth best quarterback in the NFL. Jimmy Garoppolo was also top 5 in QBR when he was in the Shanahan regime. He currently got benched for the Raiders. QBR is not a good stat. Like, currently, Patrick Mahomes isn't number 1. Josh Allen is. I love Josh Allen. I don't think Josh Allen is a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. QBR is a complicated stat that I don't think should be used just to say, "Oh, see if you're number 1 in this, you're the best quarterback." I don't think.
The eye- so
I
the eye so the eye test, right?
Yeah.
It's the eye test. It's the eye test, and QBR doesn't allow for the eye test to play in because Brock Purdy is not the number 2 quarterback in the league. Matter of fact, I think we played against the number 2 quarterback in the league, and his name is Joe Burrow, and he picked us
Yeah.
apart, and he picked the Bills apart. This dude is coming, and now that he's healthy, man, it's going to be crazy. We're not getting the turnovers nor the sacks we normally get from our defense. I have faith. It'll turn, yeah,
I agree.
that's true. And that's true. We're not getting the sacks, but that's why we go out.
Yeah.
That's why we got. That's why we went out and got a who?
Chase Young.
You got Chase
Chase
Young.
Young.
We got
I
it,
think
Chase
that will
Young.
free up. I think that will free up Nick Bosa, and even if it doesn't, I think Chase Young will get to the quarterback more than Drake Jackson and even Randy Gregory, who I didn't think was doing terrible, but I'm glad that the 49ers showed like urgency to get even better. I did hope that they added a corner, but I think that Chase Young will hopefully help the pass rush get home and take less pressure off or take pressure off the secondary. Because I do think it's kind of unfair that right now I feel like the secondary is being expected to perform like the best unit on the defense and they're not
Mm-hmm.
paid like it, you know? Like they're only supposed to do their job. They're not being like
But
the pass rush is what's paid all the big bucks on this team. And I
well,
do agree with Ryan. I think that they're going to turn it around. I just think it's going to be hilarious when fans are like, "See, he needed to be on the field and that fixed all the problems." When I don't think that that's it. I think that they're probably just going to look at their scheme, they're going to clean up their tackling, they're going to clean up their coverages, and they're going to perform better. And it's going to have very little to do with the fact that Steve Wilkes is on the field. But I
yeah,
do think that they're going to get better. They have this team has leaders that aren't going to let the season go down the drain. You know what I mean? Like I feel like Dre Greenlaw, Eric Armstead. I think Bosa is going to be very hard on himself. Fred Warner. I think those guys are going to go like kicking and screaming to make sure that this team is able to get at least in the playoffs.
and then I mean the Niners got 13 takeaways, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean we're actually tied for 1, 2, 3, 4. We're tied because you know how teams are a bunch of teams are tied, but we're technically tied for 5th when it comes to takeaways. So we're taking the ball away, but we're not finishing with the sacks. And then we're also giving the ball away. Again, the last 2 games we're giving the ball away. So I mean that's really what's gotta change is we gotta continue to take the ball away, but not
Yeah.
give the ball away.
In all the games that Brock Purdy has not given the ball away, they've won. So it seems like the most
Exactly.
important stat right now.
Exactly. So just don't turn over the football. And then yes, we got to get home. We got to get home, and that's why. Listen, the secondary and the front 7, or mainly the front 4, they go hand in hand. So if your front 4 is getting home, then guess what? Those passes are not getting completed. So like in 2019, our secondary wasn't the best. But because our front 4 was crazy,
even in 2021, they were starting Josh Norman.
Crazy, right? Exactly, crazy. Like it was only 2 quarterbacks that whole season that went over 300 yards against us. Yeah. Because the front, and especially late in the back end of the season, I mean, it was equal to 2019 and 2021. That's how dominant our front 4 was. So now the Niners got listen. They got no excuses. You got Chase Young, you got Nick Bosa. You got Javon Hargrave. You got Art Armstead and Randy Gregory. And Clelin Ferrell's playing pretty well, too. I mean, no excuses. No excuses whatsoever.
At all. Let's end on this one because I know some other streams that are going on and it's getting late. But Randy said, Kyle Shanahan said that Purdy was the real deal. Can't believe anything he says. Roscoe, do you believe that Kyle believes that?
Yes.
You do?
You know why? You know why? You want to know why? And everybody, why? I don't know. He traded away the number 3 overall pick.
True. But maybe he doesn't believe Purdy's the real deal, but he also really didn't believe in Trey.
No, Trey, listen. When Brock Purdy came in and played the way he played,
this guy read your mind. He was like, "Cause Trey."
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, listen, you got the number 3 overall pick. Number 3 overall pick, who's more talented than Brock Purdy. But once Brock Purdy came in and played the way he played, Kyle's like, oh, yeah, I'm shipping this dude off. Brock Purdy played great football last year. He played very good football last year. He went into a playoff game and did what only Colin Kaepernick has done in the last several years, and that's put up 4 total touchdowns in a playoff game. Should have been 5. Brandon Ayuk dropped the pass. You tell me how many quarterbacks just go in and say, I'm gonna put up 4 touchdowns. Go crazy. And that wasn't even his best game. Comes into this year, balls out, have a game where 20 or 21, then has another game where he goes crazy against the Cowboys. Then he has a game where he's blitzed on 84% of his dropbacks. He was blitzed on 33 out of 39 dropbacks.
Yeah.
And he threw for 300 yards and had some big touchdowns.
Why do you think the sudden regression then? Do you just think that it's because of the loss of Debo and Trent?
No, he's forcing stuff that he shouldn't have to. He's forcing stuff.
Why is he doing that? Does he feel like he needs to be the one that saves? Like,
no, that's
you kind of blame that on Kyle? Do you think that maybe there's not enough?
No, I'm not blaming Kyle for that. That's who Brock is. That's who Brock was in college.
Yeah,
he was a
I didn't watch
in college,
but I know you did.
And he had some turnover. Like there were times where teams weren't in the Seattle game in the playoffs. He should have had 3 or 4 interceptions. I would say a guaranteed 2 interceptions in that first half.
Yeah,
in that first half, but teams weren't catching it. Teams weren't catching the interceptions. Now they are. But at the end of the day, if you go rewatch, I promise any of y'all.
Yeah, he had that. There was a lot of dropped, like,
get the NFL Plus and go watch the All 22. Go watch the All 22 and go watch some of those passes that Purdy was making against 3 defenders, layering it up. Oh man, like Brock was making plays. At the end of the day, he is young and he's still getting more experience, but you cannot make those turnovers. And those turnovers are forced throws. Again, Kyle said he had to kind of force the throw the last one because he didn't have no timeouts or anything like that against the Vikings. But the one before that, whether the route wasn't correct by Jennings or whatever, like, bro, you can't force it. Yeah. You gotta live to
see another down.
See another down. And at the end of the day, Brock Purdy has got to stop forcing things.
He doesn't have
he does. He's got to stop forcing things. And I think it will get better. I promise everybody that's in the chat, it's going to get better. The defense will be better. The offense will be better. And guess what? We're going to clip this when it all happens, and we're going to come back to it. And this words from our leader. I'll leave y'all with this. Words from our leader, which is Fred Warner. He said these 9 games, y'all ain't seen nothing yet.
There you go. That was great.